right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Detroit Lions Spike Kool-Aid for the last show of January, man. January 13th, January 30th, 2026, man. Sunday will mark 4 weeks since we've had Lions football, believe it or not. Let me shout out everybody in the comment section. Well, I am. What up, what up? Nephew in the building. Hey, you read my mind, man. Jay Smooth. We got Michael. Shout out to Mikey Bonzilla. Braylon in the building. What up, what up? Danny, what up, though? Kelly, hey, hey. What up, Schiff? What up, Spencers? What's going on, y'all? All right, so let me just shout out everybody in the chat, man. Last show of the month. Next time we're on, it'll be Super Bowl week. It'll be February 2nd, as a matter of fact. This is a non-sponsored video. Shout out to Braylon with the super chat. Says we should get the Vikings GM. At least he cares about the defensive line. That is hilarious, bro. Appreciate the super chat. I usually don't do this, but I enjoy me a nice little seltzer water, right? So my wife and I, we have done Waterloo, we've done Bubbly or Bubbly, we've done all of those, and we have settled on Polar. Now, Polar to me has the most flavor, and she bought a pack, man. Lemon Polar is delicious. I know you gotta have. She doesn't really like it, but I'm a lemon strong. My favorite flavor is chocolate, chocolate cake, whatever, and then lemon would be a second, but it's pretty good, Tastes like a lemon drop, not too sweet. Good, man. I like me a nice little seltzer water. What up, God? What up, Jacob? What up, Rich is in the building. Derek went in on Michael in the chat last night. Yeah, so if you don't know what's going on, man. So I got this guy. His name is Michael, and a lot of people, they make the mistake of commenting on my videos, and YouTube has given creators now the wonderful feature of a 30-second voice response. Now, you guys know I'm not a typer, I'm a talker. And now YouTube has given me the ability to leave 30 glorious seconds of voice message. So I had a guy who said I was dumb. I was the dumbest content from a dumb creator or something like that. And I was like, so he had over 100 comments on my page. Now, for you guys, if you don't understand, if you don't make content, YouTube will tell you a number between 1 and 99 when a person comments on your channel. It'll be like, Bonzilla has 92 comments or whatever. When you hit 100, it says 99 plus. They don't give you the exact number. So this fool had 199 plus comments on my channel. So I had to roast him. He calls me dumb, and I'm a dumb creator, yet you have 100 comments on my comment in my comment section. So who's the real idiot here? So yeah. Paradise, what up, bro? What up? Spindrift is king. I say, oh my God, bro. Okay, Spindrift is expensive than the mud, bro. I don't care. It's more expensive. There's no chemicals or 2 or 3 ingredients. You want to be chugging chemicals and getting cancer. Well, I'm going to tell you what. If I'm going to get cancer, I already got it because, chemicals is everywhere. But I tried, my wife would have to remind me if we tried Spindrift. If we did, and it's the one I'm thinking of, I'm not in love with it. But it is super high, bro. It's like $7 per little 8. It's crazy, bro. I saw a sparkling water it was like over $10, man. So anyway, appreciate the super chat, my man. It's cold in VA, but not Detroit cold. Yeah, man. Yeah. Amon-Ra is going to play a celebrity in the celebrity basketball game. Well, live Spindrift. Okay. When I look, I'll use some of your super chat. Okay, bro. Spindrift is expensive, bro. It be sitting there. I'll be like, no, I'm gonna have to check it out. Kelly in the building says, how's the weather where you are, Derek? Is it still below 0 temperatures? No, it's 18 currently, but it does probably feel a lot colder. So it hasn't been freezing. Try the lime, get back to me. Okay. All right. I'll try it. But yeah, you can get that stuff is expensive. Will says, hey, Derek, real talk. Do you think Brad Holmes actually cares about this franchise? Because we should have a trophy already. There are fans who have died who believe in this team. So now what? Hey, appreciate you, Paradise. Appreciate that, my man. All right. Will, that's a good question. So let's get to the first order of business. And I think that this is a a conversation that we are going to need to have, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's why I played the Lil Wayne comfortable, because this conversation is going to be uncomfortable. If you just now joining us, the Vikings decided to fire their general manager, who was just extended last year. And I know a lot of you guys might be saying that this is a reach, and it's not. What I'm about to say is not a reach, okay? Brad Holmes, to me, I think I changed my title to this stream so many different times. What is it now? What is the title now? It is, what is it? Is Brad Holmes on borrowed time? I think it is. Yes. Okay. So that was the best I could come up with at the point, at the time, but kind of not really, because Brad Holmes to me is, he kind of is on borrowed time. And what that is he has run out of the good graces in Detroit. To me, he's on thin ice, if you will. All right, so let me see. It's actually nice weather. It feels like 60 outside. Where? Fresh and Fly says, it's simple, guys. We signed Drew Petzing because Brad knows we don't have any money to sign players, and Drew has shown he's capable of getting production out of backup players. That's Christian says, on offense, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get a Super Bowl caliber defense? So many Lions fans think we can dump endless resources into the O. What up, Michael? That's a good question. All right, so let's talk about it. All right, your favorite topic, man, Brad Holmes. He is the topic of the offseason. I don't know about you, but my excitement level for 2026 is probably about a 10%. I don't know. Right now, I don't see much reason to be excited. But we got to have an uncomfortable conversation. And again, we're going to have these conversations. I'm going to be leading the charge. You're going to get sick of these videos, but hey, that's what I do. Last year was the pass rush. This year is Brad Holmes. If you haven't heard, the Vikings decided to fire their general manager and retain their coach. Now, according to reports, there were some rumblings and of some behind the scenes chaos that basically the coach and general manager wasn't getting along. And the Vikings decided to retain their coach over their general manager. Now, keep this in mind. The Vikings hired Kevin O'Connell after the Rams won the Super Bowl. Okay. He was their offensive coordinator, and he is still currently, he survived his general manager, right? Kwesi had been there since 2022. Now, if you look at why that probably happened, I want to be very clear about something. When it comes to general managers, Brad Holmes has done overall a better job than Kwesi. One of the first knocks, I think it was year one of his regime, Brad Holmes kind of took advantage of him, and he traded away that 31 pick and something else to come up and get Jameson Williams. And that was kind of the first time that scenario happened. Then later that year, we traded TJ Hawkinson to the same organization. Is that what led to him being fired? I think it had a little bit to do with it, but I think that the nail in the coffin was Sam Darnold going to the Super Bowl, in addition to Daniel Jones playing lights out before he got hurt. And you have a essentially rookie quarterback who is streaky at best. You had two quarterbacks on your roster. You decided to let both of them walk in favor of a guy who hadn't played, and now you're sitting at home, and now he is unemployed. But let's bring this back. So Kwesi made some mistakes, 100%. The Vikings are $46 million over the cap heading into next year. And if you haven't heard, the cap has increased. It's going to be somewhere between $301 million to $305 million. But Spot Track had already predicted that. And with that prediction, the Lions will be, according to their website, negative $7 million. The Vikings are negative 46, according to that, with those additions. He made a lot of mistakes. But the Vikings had a defense. They had a defense. They just couldn't get their offense. And I think after you have a guy like Justin Jefferson, is the Jordan Addison, is that something that helped get Kwesi fired? Kwesi is not our concern, but it's good to bring up all of this stuff because this is a man who was just extended, who has not done all bad things. Now, the Vikings haven't done what we did. I don't think they won the division under him. They might have made the playoffs that Kirk Cousins year. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with them and all their inner workings, but he wound up losing his job 1 year after both him and Kevin Cottle were extended. Should Brad Holmes be worried? Yes, he is. Yes, he should. He should be terrified. He should be absolutely terrified because between Sheila Hemp, what this team has failed to do, he should be terrified. Now, Lions fans on Twitter are just ridiculous. Okay, well, Brad Holmes under no circumstances should be under the hot seat. What are you talking about? Every coach, every GM is a season away from a hot seat. I mean, Bill Belichick didn't even make the Hall of Fame. I know why, but we can argue that. Every coach is one bad year away from being on the hot seat. Now, Kwesi, a lot of good. Defense had Daniil Hunter. He had Andrew Van Ginkel, made some moves that made this defense. Brian Flores, all of those guys, right? When nobody wanted to take a chance on Brian, he was in. Now, I know Kevin O'Connell has something to do with that as well. But again, these guys are decision makers. But the reports are that they were not getting along. Kevin O'Connell, it was some behind the scenes kind of disgruntledness, like something was going on behind the scenes. I don't think that Brad Holmes is as safe as you think. Let's paint the picture as to, if you look at, and the reason I had to paint the picture about Kwesi is, although he has not reached the level of Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions, his failures caught up with him. That's the whole point of this video, is that the failures caught up with him. The Vikings decided to move on from their general manager and retain their coach. Think about that. And we have been talking, this is the first year that we've been able to talk in this regard when it comes to Brad Holmes, or even the Detroit Lions in that matter. You could not even talk about him. So should Brad be worried? He should absolutely be worried. He should be terrified because he's also one bad year away from potentially losing his job as well. And there's a strong possibility that Dan Campbell is retained. Let me show you something. I'm going to go to, and this is going to be, let me try to see if I can blow it up a little bit because this website acts really weird when you try to blow things up. I think that when you talk about like, it's not that I want to attack Brad Holmes. It's not that I don't like him. I just can in my opinion, I can see the writing on the wall. There's a saying, a leopard don't change his spots. Brad Holmes has come out and said, I'm a leopard. I'm not changing nothing. Now he says we need to evolve, and then turns around and says that we're going to continue to do the same things that we've been doing. We're going to see this year, and that's why there's, to me, a decision. It will be very clear beyond a shadow of a doubt on May 1st, 2026, who Brad Holmes is. Is he capable of taking us all the way? And I will have my decision on that. I'm leaning toward no, but I will be, if he can evolve and change and adapt, then I might change my stance. But right now, that is going to be no. And this is how you wind up and getting fired. And these are the conversations that we have to have. And I think when you see what I'm about to show you, you might feel differently about Brad Holmes. This is coming from Spot Track. And this is already with the predicted salary cap increase. I want you to see, if you look here, season 2026, salary cap or maximum $304 million. Now, over the cap might have, I don't know why these two websites don't match with their numbers, but I particularly like the layout of this one, so I'll use this one. The Kansas City Chiefs are heading into 26, negative $56 million. The Minnesota Vikings, as you can see right here, are third. They're third. If you scroll down to look at the Detroit Lions, they are 23rd when it comes in over the cap. All right, so the Vikings were 3. The Detroit Lions were 10 spots beneath those guys. That's not bad, right? It's not bad. What Brad Holmes has done, it's not bad. But what do we say at the beginning of the segment? Is that your decisions have consequences. They will catch up to you, right? Brad Holmes has invested $1 billion into 9 people. You have signings that you have to do. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell. You have to make a decision on players that are going to be free agents. Malcolm Rodriguez, what are you going to do there? Sam Laporta and Brian Branch, two staples of what this team has become. They're going into the last year of their deals. And right now, the Detroit Lions heading into 2026 are negative $7 million. That is with nobody being cut, no restructures, which the players have to agree to. I'm sure as long as they get whatever money they are, that they feel is comfortable, then they'll agree to a restructure, especially if they want their team to be better. But think about this. Is it the player's responsibility to take less money or restructure their contract, or is it the general manager's responsibility to set that up correctly? Okay, so let's go there. But I want to show you something in contrast to the Detroit Lions and what they're doing. And you tell me if, how this is possible. For all the praise that we give Brad Holmes, all the drafting that he's done, and it's been very good. I take nothing from that. But let's not forget that Bob Quinn drafted Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, two staples of the offensive line. As of right now, Bob Quinn has done a better job at the offensive line than Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is responsible for Penei Sewell. Bob Quinn is responsible for Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow. Two staples that probably won't be here come kickoff this year. But I want you to see something. Check this out. If we let's go back to the salary cap, predicted salary cap for each team in 2026. Watch this. Now we're doing from most over the cap to least under cap. Now we're going to switch it. Watch this. Look at this. If we go down, you've got really, really bad teams, right? But there's one right out of sight. The banner is covering it up. Can you see it? Not yet. You can't. Look at that. The Seattle Seahawks, a team that is going to the Super Bowl, going into 2026, are plus $76 million. That is before any restructures, any cuts, anything of that nature. They are fifth in the league in highest cap space. Terrible team, decent team, terrible team, a team that's playing in the Super Bowl. And remember, this is the general manager that it was reported that he turned down the Lions job, so we settled for Bradley Mathias. Okay? So you got a team playing in the Super Bowl. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute, because it was something else I wanted to show you too. Something else I wanted to show you. Number 5 is the Seattle Seahawks. I want you to take a gander. Take a gander at sell the farm. Forget those picks. Sell the farm, forget those picks. A team that was just in the NFC Championship game is number 8 on the list. 8 on the list. And yet the Lions are negative $7 million. The LA Rams have $47 million heading into 2026. No matter how you cannot deny the numbers. So no matter how you feel about me, my delivery, my content, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter. I mean, to the franchise, it doesn't matter how any of us feel. That's why they raised the ticket prices after 2 good years. But how can you explain this? For every consequence has every decision has a consequence. Every action has a reaction. And the reaction that the Minnesota Vikings made was to fire their general manager and retain their coach. I don't think the Detroit Lions are that far off, if I'm being brutally honest, which is the only way I know how to be. I don't think they're that far off. If you were to ask which one is more beloved by the franchise and the ownership, it is Dan Campbell. That's why he got a 6-year deal. That's why Brad got a 5-year deal. Okay? He is the one that we will retain. And Dan Campbell has flaws too. I don't want to make it seem like he's perfect. He has flaws as well. But this could be a situation that we find ourselves in, because the bad decisions that Brad Holmes has made in free agency, in the draft, paying people who deserve to be paid, but did they deserve to be the highest paid? Those are questions that ownership is going to have to ask when it comes to making these teams better. And you might say, well, Derek, you're reaching. I don't think I'm reaching, because how are you going to make the team better to compete with the Rams and the Seahawks if you have no money to do so, right? How do you know that you're going to? So you have to create money. Then you have to find players with that money, right? So Brad Holmes, to me, we could be looking at a very similar situation to next season what the Vikings are going through. And here's the thing too. If Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes ever get on two different pages, that might be the beginning of the end. If we don't hear the buddy dynamic anymore, the Dan and Brad, if we hear that there's friction behind the scenes, who do you think the first one out is going to be? Let me know in the comments below. See, y'all think I just be making this stuff up, man. I don't. It's been 5 years. Brad Holmes, because of his drafting primarily, saved is why he's still here. That's why he's still here, to be honest. But just as quick as he got extended, he could also be let go. Don't forget, Kwesi was extended last season, and now he's in the unemployment line. Let me know what you think in the comments. Alto Jenkins says, so everybody just turning on Holmes now. I don't know who everyone is, but I've been on Holmes' head since 2023. Go check the tape, sir. Go check the tape. So, I don't know who you talking about, but I've been on his head since 2023. And that's documented fact. So you can go check that out. Fresh and Fly says, get ready for a roster similar to 2020 due to the lack of money for free agency, a roster full of misfits. Well, Fresh and Fly, that's a fantastic point. That's a fantastic point. And I'm going to tell you what, brother, I have no tolerance for it. I have zero tolerance because we had an opportunity to capitalize on the roster that we had and we blew it. And I will not let that go until we're sitting on Woodward and we have hardware in our trophy case. I will not let that go. So that would be a shame. But we've talked about that. Brad has a monster workload to do. We've talked about it. Christian says, save $4 million by cutting Brock. We matched San Francisco offer sheet, overpaid a tight end. San Francisco got better production from Jeff Tungs. We keep overpaying guys we like instead of getting guys to win. That's a fair point. Also, Jake Bates we have no kicker right now. We have a future reserve, but we still have to pay Jake Bates. Jake Bates he has to be paid. We have not factored that in the equation. Now, he was making $2 million, so he's not going to break the bank, but we need money for our kicker as well. Not dense, but definitely a little shocked. Let me see. Brad Matthias Holmes goes with his guts. Yeah, I saw I wasn't the only one that made a video about his guts. The Brad is out of here. Brad can kick rocks, in my opinion. What up, Raw Detroit? Says all facts 100 grid. I think Brad will be gone before Dan Campbell. He's not the sharpest. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Did you see what Fred Warner said? Yes. I hope I bookmarked that, but I saw that, and there have been many content creators and many people talking about Dan Campbell's practices and how they're, but Fred's a football player who has battled injuries, so maybe he's on to something, man. But I did see that. How do you feel about Crunch Time? Do you agree with some of their takes? Crunch Times they're good guys. I think that for me personally, if I'm being transparent, I think that sometimes they let the fan base dictate their content. They could also be, they could also be feeling this way, and I've seen them, but me and Booner have had we got into it last year about Trey Hendrickson. Like we were going in about it. So he said I was pushing some unrealistic narrative, and I'm saying I'm not pushing anything. I'm pushing for my team to get better, and that Brad can make it happen if he wanted to. So anyway, that worked itself out. But I think that sometimes that they can maybe take a little less conflictive route because they don't want to upset the fan base. So, but I think they're great guys and they make, great content, and they're like the Woodward Sports Outcasts. I think they got something going over there. And if they do it right, they can give Woodward a run for their money for sure. What up, Aaron says, what's up, Grid? How's your Friday going? It's going great. Who you got winning the Super Bowl? I am taking the Seattle Seahawks to win. People viewed Branch as untouchable last year. Now, dude might not even get paid what he wants now. You know what? That's a good. Let me see. I want to see if Brian Branch has a does he have a market value? And I understand that, like sports is emotional, right? Like sports is emotional. And a lot of times, like, think about it. Why else? Okay, he does. Why else would we go to and sit in a coliseum and watch, around people we don't know, and watch people that we can't even see because we're sitting so high up because we can't afford to sit any closer. Like, you have to be a level, just like they say you got to be a level of crazy to play football. You have to be a level of fanatical to go to to go to a sports game. So I feel like that is true. Would you trade for Lucas Van Ness? I don't know, man. He won't be complaining if we sign Trey this year. Let me see. Crunch time is cool when it comes to Lions creators. My motto, if they're pushing trust in Quinn, don't listen to them now. Wait, what? Why would somebody say trust in Quinn now? Brad can sell Omaha steaks. But I like they said Trey either ending up a Bear or Buccaneers. Brad don't care. So I will say this. It does seem like the crunch time guys have come, like, they're young too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're all in their 20s. So they don't have the same baggage that us older folks have. You know what I'm saying? And we come with a different take. I'm 46 years old, man. I'll be 50 in 4 years. 50, bruh. I don't got time for shenanigans. I'm past all that. I love this team. I believe in this team, but I also have to call it like I see it. And right now, I don't know if Brad Holmes is the guy. And now he's painted himself into a corner, and he's in trouble. The Lions are in trouble, man. If they're to the point that they cannot miss. They cannot miss. Big Black in the building. What up, though, man? Appreciate the super chat. Says Sam Darnold with that crazy get back against the Vikings, LOL. Yeah, man. Vikings fan. So, yeah, that's crazy. Salary cap was just raised for the 2026 season. Yes, Chocolate One. We've already talked about that. Jay says, I'll be 40 in 4 years. Well, congratulations, big dog. I remember them days, bro. I remember the days when I was 36, like you are. I was actually getting remarried. So, me and my wife has been married since we were both 36, and so we are having our 10-year anniversary in May. All right. Yes, we did talk about that. We did talk about that, man, and we will have this conversation. Aaron, what up, bro? Nobody has to ever apologize for when they get here. You don't have to do that. There's no set time. And even if there were, you are not obligated to be here, bro. So I appreciate the time that you do spend in the stream, and that goes for everybody else. What up, Dennis? What's good with you, man? God says we need to restructure Golf and St. Brown. Yeah, we need to do that. What up, Q Ball? What's good with you, man? No, Derek, I'm saying the Lions creators that were condescending about trust in Quinn, be patient. Then I don't want to hear from them now. Now defending Brad. Oh, yes, bro. Thank you. I was like, am I the only one who remembers that? And so the content creators, there were a few around. I'm not gonna say no names, but they just follow anything the franchise does, right? Because you don't know football. Speaking of you don't know football, I got this shirt. I showed it to my members, and you guys are actually going to see it before the public does on Lion Syndicate. And this is the You Don't Know Football Relax shirt. I'm getting feedback on the face, okay? I get it. He doesn't look like St. Brown, but you get the point. You get the point. And I can't necessarily make him look like St. Brown. Like this one right here is very, very close to Holmes and could get me in a little bit of trouble, but I'm willing to take the risk. For St. Brown in the Lions uniform, I know somebody said it looks like Ahmed Hassanin. You get the point. You get the gist. You know it's a Lions player. If you know who number 14 is. I like it. A lot of people that show like it, but I'm getting pushback on the face. And I'm like, I don't have rights to show his face, to sell his face. A lot of people, you can get away with that until the NFL sends you a cease and desist or they try to sue you. So I like the shirt. I'll probably order one for myself, see how it turns out, and then decide whether or not I put them on sale. But most of the people I talk to, and I value you guys' opinion, but when I had the shirt idea, that's kind of what I always had. Why don't you just put a paper bag over his head? I could also put him in a helmet, and that'll, fix that whole problem. But when I thought of You Don't Know Ball, That is the first photo I thought of. That is a photo from when he was doing the uniform reveal in 2024. And that's the first photo that came to my mind, is that photo right there. And of course, we've got the Define Aggressive shirts that we'll be launching pretty soon. All right, so let's have a conversation about this. Make sure I put this up. All right, so the Vikings general manager got fired, and we had a conversation about Brad Holmes and how long does he have? Because the NFL stands for not for long. I don't understand why everybody wants to attack me and my opinion, maybe because I don't feel the status quo. I'm not going to fall in line. If I don't believe in something, I'm not going to believe in it. And right now, Brad Holmes, to me, I don't know if he's the guy that can take us all the way. I just don't know. He has to get out of his own way. He's that guy that has all the potential in the world, but he never reaches it because he can't get out of his own way. And we have yet to see that. Right now, all the good, to me, has been offset by the bad that Brad Holmes has done, including signing 9 people to $1 billion. The Detroit Lions, with the salary cap increase, according to Spot Track, are already $7 million over the cap. Now, they're going to get below that because people are going to get cut. So they're going to do that. But how much are they going to be over or under the cap in order to bring new people in here? You got to ask Jared Goff if he can restructure. St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil. I mean, everybody but Hutch. You probably will ask Kirby Joseph as well. But you got to find some money from somewhere. That brings us to the topic of today's video. Brian Branch, a guy that a year ago we could have never saw us losing. There ain't no way. Branch is a dog. A lot of you guys chose to discard Sam Laporta over Brian Branch. And now with our new OC, who knows if that's a possibility. Now, we've already gone over Sam Laporta and his market value, $17 million a year. It is so much that we have to dissect when it comes to the future of this regime, specifically Brad Holmes. We saw the Minnesota Vikings retain their coach, but fire their general manager. They might have been brought in at the same time or very close together after the Rams won that Super Bowl. I think it might have been at the same time. So it's not unlikely. The Lions have done it before. We got rid of our general manager. We retained Jim Caldwell, and we hired Bob Quinn. So it's not out of the question for that to happen. But when it comes to Brian Branch, are the Detroit Lions going to be able to afford him? Are they going to make the decision to keep him? Is it a right decision? Now, I'm very curious to know what his market value is coming off of an injury. And again, he will have another year to kind of build that market value back up. But should the Detroit Lions, like we have to have these conversations. Right now, we have no money. We have to create money. That's literally what we have to do. And we went over it in a different segment that for a team that's going to the Super Bowl, like the Seattle Seahawks, that they have $76 million, I believe, if I remember correctly, that they will have to play with next year. Either way, they are tens of millions of dollars under the cap for next year. That's how much they will have available to spend. Okay? They're in the Super Bowl. Why aren't we there? Why aren't we there? Is it because of their general manager, that he's a better decision maker? I don't know. But see, you can't really argue with results. You can't argue with them. Numbers and results you can't argue with. So I'm curious to know. We already know what the dog Brian Branch is. Now, this year, he was a little out of character. He wasn't the same. It seemed like to me he was slower. He was paying less attention, maybe because his running mate and Kirby Joseph was on the sideline most of the year. I don't know. He even got into that scuffle with Juju Smith-Schuster. So I don't know what was going on with Brian Branch, but something seemed different this season. But I'm curious to know. And we got a long way to go. He's still on a contract. But this is a decision that Brad Holmes has to make. Probably this year. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's on record by saying that he is their top priority. Extending Jahmyr Gibbs is the top priority. I would have to assume, with Hutch out the way, that now the second would be Jack Campbell. So that leaves Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, 2 people that are injured who may or may not be ready to start the season. And then you have to decide which one are you going to keep. And now with Drew Petzing being our offensive coordinator, the 13 personnel, the tight end sets, all of that, Sam Laporta seems more appealing in an offensive regard. But Brian Branch, there's going to have to be a decision about both of them. So I want to know, What is Brian Branch market value? Now, this is coming from Spot Track. I have not seen this. I don't know what you guys think it is. What is the market value of Brian Branch? Drop it in the comments below. Before I scroll down, if you're watching this on playback, put it in the comments. Pause the video, put it in the comments. The market value of Brian Branch is as follows. $20 million a year. Holy smokes. 4 years. $79 million, which would make him the third highest safety in the National Football League. As you can see, he is a free agent in 2027, which is this time next year. Unbelievable. See, this is also a situation of when you play good and it's time to pay you good, is the team going to A, have the resources to do that, or B, actually do it? And as you can see, he will put him in the contract of Antoine Woodfield Jr., Kyle Hamilton, Minka Fitzpatrick, and his running mate, Kirby Joseph. $20 million. This is a smidge under what Kirby Joseph got. Now, they don't do like the guarantees and stuff like that, but this is a smidge under what Kirby Joseph got. I think Kirby was in the 80s, mid-80s, something like that. So, $20 million, 4 years. That means that both of our safeties will be making that type of money. We've already established that Sam Laporta's, his market value is $17 million a year. I'm going to call it. The Lions will not retain one of these people. One of these two people will be gone. At first, I thought they would try to make it work. I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think they're going to be able to. And then you have this as well. The Vikings, the next general manager has to come in and deal with the mess that Kwesi made. Is that something that could potentially happen with the Detroit Lions? That next, if this doesn't work out, that next general manager is going to have to deal with the mess that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell created. I'll throw him in there too. They're going to have to deal with that mess, the mess of a salary cap situation where right now we're not even done paying people. Now, the good news for this regime is that if they can get it under control, buy themselves some more time with a successful Super Bowl season in 2026, they may not have these concerns 2 years from now. Because after the 2023 draft, there is nobody, and I do mean nobody, that after the second round of the 2023 draft, there's nobody worth any money right now. There's nobody worth any money, any type of shattering contracts in any round, any pick, any player from the draft is going to break the bank for the last two drafts. And whoever you draft in 2026, you got them for a steal. You got them for a steal. It's like you got them from the thrift store compared to what your earlier draft picks are making. So let me know in the comments below. Which one of these guys is not here? I'm leaning toward Brian Branch due to the fact of Drew Petzing, but I also could see us going a cheaper route as well. And where neither one of those guys are here. Because you know what I love about this? And this is, y'all gonna hate this, bro. And y'all gonna hate me, but that's okay. I can be those things. What did we say? When it came to the defensive line, what did you guys as Lions fans say about the defensive line? You can't have two elite pass rushers on the defensive line. You can't have two record-breaking contracts on the defensive line, but you can have two safeties. Is that why? Is it because it's cheaper? It is a cheaper position, but is that why? So does it apply to safeties, but not to the defensive line? The defensive end is the second highest paid position in football. Okay, you use that argument. I'll let you have it. I'll give it to you. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. You're going to pay Kirby Joseph $20 million a year. You're going to pay Brian Branch $20 million a year. You're going to have two $20 million safeties on your team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below because I'm real curious to hear them. I don't think I'm leaning now. I don't know. I'm at the point where I don't think either one of them return. I just don't know how Brad is to pull this off. How are you going to pull this off? But if he can manage to pull this off, replenish this team, buy himself some time, he might be able to fix this. He might be able to fix this with an extension, because I don't see, there's no money. You ain't paying nobody that you've drafted after 2023 at all. There's no 2024 pick that's worth a deal. There's no 2025 pick. It's early. That's worth a deal. You got a lot of time. Matter of fact, check this out. When those 2025 picks are up for new contracts, Dan Campbell and Brett Holmes may not even be here. Let me know what you thought. What you think? So what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Hey, Raw. It's increasing, bro, and we're negative $7 million with the increase, bro. We're negative $7 million according to Spot Track with that same increase. Old Jarhead says not worth anything until he's back at 100%. Branch probably gone. Lots of Branch players in this year's draft. Well, I'll tell you what, like I said, Spirit of Detroit said it. If we draft a safety, then that signals the end of Ryan Branch or Kirby Joseph, depending on what or both of them. Don't forget, we got Dan Jackson. We don't know what he got, but we drafted Dan Jackson. Maybe Dan Jackson can be like a diamond in the rough or something. I don't know. I'm taking the top 4 tight end over a safety who tore his Achilles. He's not going to be the same. Can they cut Kirby and get a medical exemption? That's a really good question, bro. I don't really know how those work. They'll just push more money down the road. But see, that's another thing too, Lions, is if that happened, like, think about this. I know you hate to hear it, bro, but let's assume that either one of them is not retained. That's something that the next general manager and or coach are going to have to deal with. And didn't we have to deal with that? Didn't the Lions have to deal with that when didn't this regime have to deal with that? Right? When they got Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn put us in a giant hole out of desperation. And I think, Lions, you brought this up a little while ago, a couple shows ago, is about how you don't want desperation to kind of dictate how this team works, because that's like setting up for disaster. And we saw that already. We saw trading for Everson Griffin in a year that we were desperate. Drafting Jeff Okudah, which was the last year of this regime or that previous regime. And rumors were coming out that was a desperation move. I don't know how. The rumors are, here's the rumors. The rumors are that Bob Quinn wanted Jeff Okudah and Matt Patricia wanted Derek Brown. So those are the rumors. I don't know how true they are, but I do believe a little bit. Okay, I think Branch is worth the money if he comes back well from injury. You know what, Jacob? Somebody told me that, bro. I mean, so how y'all feel about that? How do you feel about St. Brown playing in the All-Star, the celebrity game? How do y'all feel about that? I can't believe, like, that's okay. I mean, I guess it's like the NFL All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many people have, especially with them taking, contact out, how many people have popped an Achilles or ACL in one of those games. But how do y'all feel about that? Other than golf, who can restructure their deal? Jacob, we got quite a few people at the top. I would say you've got golf. Probably the 3 major people are the 3 biggest cap hits, which are probably Goff, Aleem, and St. Brown. What's Tracy Walker up to? Unemployed. Lion says extension or firing at the end of the season. St. Brown top 5, so he deserves if he wants to. Alden Fines will eventually come back to bite him, fortunately. Bears lost their OC to the Ravens. Really? Wow. He probably had to ask the team if he could do it, so I have no issue with him playing, and it's not that physical. All right, so y'all would be, I mean, you wouldn't be cool, but okay, so question. How would you feel if he get hurt? How would you feel if St. Brown get hurt? Would you, how would you feel? God Monkey says, I would low-key trade McNeil. Bears going after X-Strand? Yeah, it makes sense. because Ben Johnson was probably Ben Johnson's understudy. No, hey, Braylon, what I say is irrelevant. I'm not going to jinx St. Brown. You know what I'm saying? He's playing in this all-star game. I'm sitting in my basement. So it ain't no superpower entity that's going to pop an ACL for St. Brown. Y'all might believe that stuff. I don't. So I'm just asking the question. How would you feel if you hurt yourself? How would you feel if St. Brown got hurt playing in the celebrity all-star celebrity pickup game? I am kind of curious to know if he can hoop. We can't keep pushing money down the road. No, we cannot, Raw. That's facts. See why I speak that into existence? Because I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in superstition and jinxes and all of that stuff. So because I spoke it in, if St. Brown tears an Achilles, it's because I spoke about it. No, bro, it's because he chose to play in the All-Star game. I'm not going to take responsibility for what another grown man is doing. McNeil, Kirby, and DJ Reed don't have a lot of guaranteed money after next year. As long as it's cheap, as long as it's not career ending. The game is such a joke, he probably won't break a sweat. Hey, some of them people was playing hard, man. Wasn't Scotty Montgomery up for the Ravens OC? Oh, was he? I thought he was going for DC. But yeah, I guess that's what that means. All right, let's find out. Let's look at the Detroit Lions salary or the cap hit. Oh, what up, Ned? What's good? If St. Brown got hurt, I just say he needs to relax and he doesn't know ball. HD, what up, bro? What's going on with you, man? Remember when Calvin Johnson played in that game? Fave, I actually don't, bro. I don't know. You know how like some people can't ride, they can't do certain things, but you might be right about it being built into his contract, and if it's not, then you can do whatever. But like I thought it was funny, George Kittle with the torn Achilles or whatever was still golfing like from the cart, bro. It was crazy. So I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine trying to play now. Branch on a thin slope right now. He can't afford to get another fine again. Calvin, that's what they say. I don't know. I wasn't really into it like that. So I don't know. I know it's a lot of like actors that they used to play, and you were like, dang, they can really ball, man. They can really ball. All right, so here are the Detroit Lions. Okay, dang, we've been on for 51 minutes, bro. That is crazy. That's crazy how fast time is going. All right, let me bring in this. And you guys tell me what you would like to see. Here are the order of cap hits from largest to smallest for the NFL. Taylor Decker right now, his cap hit is $21 million. So if he was to retire, that 21 would become available. Is that correct? So he's also on the last year of his deal. I think that, to be fair, but let's not forget that in May, the Lions could extend Jahmyr Gibbs. So I don't know. Okay. But the Jahmyr Gibbs extension is money down the road too. See, all this pushing money down the road. Check this out. Okay. Ooh, it just got juicy. Let me see something. Yo. Okay. Ooh. I forgot you could do this. Y'all. All right, so check this out. We looked at 2026. Here are, as of right now, the 2020. I went up to 2027. Now, it is early as far as, right? Check this out, though. According to SpotTrack, in 2027, things change a bit. If we go to 2026, we looked at 2026. You have Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aleem McNeil, Panay Sewell, Taylor Decker. If we go, those are the top 5. If we go to 2027, currently as things stand, you can see now that Panay Sewell will be the second largest cap hit. Jared Goff will always be number 1. St. Brown drops to 3. There's no Taylor Decker. Aleem McNeil drops to 4. And Taylor Decker should not be under contract in 2027. He shouldn't be under contract. I thought this was his last year. Yo, oh, this is their potential out. Dog. All right, so this is their potential out if they don't take it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I guarantee, and there's a void year for Taylor. Dog. I didn't know this. I did not know this. I know that we extended him after he was one that got an extension after the 2024 season as well, or before the 2024 season, after the NFC Championship game. I think we extended Panay Sewell, St. Brown, Jared Goff, Kirby Joe. Like, we extended everybody after that. So it's like Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell got their extension, and then we went on this extension spree, bro, and he was one of them. Holy smokes. So I thought he had 1 year left on his deal. He has 2. Taylor Decker has 2 years, and then there's a void year where he becomes a free agent that same year. I did not know that. Tracking Ndamukong Suh. I have to pay for Spot Track to do that. I am thinking about becoming a premium member. Like, they don't let you see that stuff. Huh. Wow. I did not know that he had one. I think I didn't recall that. Wow. All right. Gibbs and Goff will be restructured. Well, Gibbs, hey, Stu. Gibbs is still on his rookie deal, bro. So he that ain't nothing to worry about. Laporta will be cut. Trey Hendrickson will be a desperation move. Branch will get paid. That's not a bad look. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. I appreciate you guys, man. Last show in February. I will see you I'll see you guys on Monday. All right. So again, check out the shirt. I'm probably going to order my own. I like it. A lot of people, they got a problem with the face. And I'm like, remember now, I can't sell their face. So I don't own the face. That's why I had to take the Lions logo off. And that's why you ever seen some of these, you ever wonder why you see these commercials and the Lions will have, like, if you see Hutch in a All-State commercial, he cannot wear a Lions jersey unless there's an agreement with the Detroit Lions. So he can wear a blue jersey, or that's why Patrick Mahomes, or you don't see them in a Chiefs jersey. It's like a red knockoff jersey because they can't do it. So I like it. I'm very proud of it. I'll get it. Check it out. And we'll go from there. All right. With that being the case, man, I appreciate y'all. I will see you on Monday. Go Lions.